let's kill you a bunch of times to make you immortal.
You might be unkillable, impossible to delete out of existence, if one of the most exciting ideas about physics, quantum immortality, is true.
If a tumble dryer fell on your head, you're going to be disfigured for the rest of your life, right? Because you're immortal, you can't die. So that's going to hurt. You still have feelings, you still have nerve endings and shit like that. And as well, if you keep on dying, you will get traumatized every time.
To test this idea, we'll put a nuclear bomb in your living room, but more on that later. This is real science happening around one of the most successful theories of physics. To understand why, we need to tell you a story. The story of the smallest parts in the...
How would you know? No one can count to 1 billion. Or maybe we have like a computer or some shit. But if he didn't, we said, oh, I've lost count. I have to go back.
The universe, atoms and fundamental particles. With everyday objects, things intuitively make sense. If you kick a marble 10 times with the same force and at the same angle, it always lands in the same spot. But if you kick an electron 10 times exactly the same way, it shows up in different places. On the most fundamental level of reality, randomness is the rule. The story that solves this is called quantum mechanics. Simplified, it goes something like this. A particle like an electron is not like a tiny marble, but like a shapeshifter, a diffuse thing we call a wave that ebbs and...
I don't get this when people say we are made of atoms, very small atoms, smaller than an ant, let's say.
...flows. But to make it much weirder, it's not a wave of matter or energy, but a wave of probability, an immaterial essence that has values between 0% and 100%. What does that even mean? Quantum mechanics doesn't really tell us much about the electron.
And as well, air is all around us, but we can't see it. We can feel it, but we can't see it. If you get like a vape, for example, and blow it in the air, you can see it go away. You can't see my hand there, but it goes away somewhere.
Tony tells us how this entity that we call an electron behaves on average. Say you shoot an electron gun at your apartment. You shoot it 100 times. 80 times the electron shows up in your living room and 20 times in your kitchen. So the probability wave of our electron is 80% in the living room and 20% in the kitchen. What's deeply annoying is that this story of probability waves works insanely well in reality. It's not just some brainchild that only works on paper. Scientists have tested it in countless experiments, and it works every single time. It explains how a lot of real things work, from information passing through microchips to the atoms fusing in the center of stars. And yet, how can this story make sense? All of our other scientific stories give us a mental picture of the things they're describing: a sphere of iron at the center of Earth, an elastic fabric of space. But a wave of probability, what's that even supposed to look like? Quantum mechanics doesn't tell us anything about the electron itself, what it looks like, how it moves, or how it tastes. But if our story doesn't describe the electrons themselves, what does it describe, and how does it potentially make you immortal? What is the quantum story really about? Scientists have been debating this for a century. They've come up with tons...
I don't like it when people, two different scientific things on one thing, and they're saying one thing is this way, other way is this. How can we believe which one it is?
Tons of ideas we can't cover here, but there are two popular schools of thought. We'll call them linguists and literary critics. They're screaming and arguing over what the quantum story really means. The position of the linguists is shut up and calculate. They basically claim that quantum mechanics is not a story about reality, but just a kind of grammar for the theoretical language of the universe. With this language, we can predict experiments, nothing else. If there is no story, there's no point in asking what the story says about the electron. Whether electrons are tiny marbles or clouds, waves of negative charge, or Detective Pikachu is missing the point. Quantum mechanics doesn't enable you to visualize any electrons. All you can do is to run experiments. And physics is all about experiments, not about creating mental pictures for us. So shut up, stop imagining fairy tales, and just use the probability wave to calculate things. Follow the grammar, ignore the plot. No, scream the literary critics. Read between the lines. There's a hidden meaning here. They are many worldlians, and they're convinced that quantum mechanics is a story about reality, and they want to interpret the story. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is not the same as the multiverse, by the way, which is a whole different can of worms, but we'll get to that another time.
I'll get to it now. I don't think there's different dimensions or times. Like, I'm sitting here and there's another side of me, another Liam, right? Same person, I look exactly the same, being a doctor or some shit. I don't want to be a doctor, that's too much stress. Oh yeah, I don't believe in that, to be honest. This for outcomes what you have to deal with.
Time. The many worldlians think that the universe is an infinitely complex quantum state where all physically possible outcomes coexist simultaneously. If the probability wave of your electron is split 80% to 20% between your living room and the kitchen, that means that the electron is split in a similar way. That there are 5 versions of the electron, 4 of them are going to the living room and 1 to the kitchen. But it isn't just the electron that splits. You are observing the electron, so there are 5 versions of you too. 4 of them see the electron in the living room and 1 in the kitchen. Each of these different versions of you and the electron are equally real, equally true, and all of them exist at this moment in your house. But they can't communicate or interact in any way, so they're totally invisible to each other, which means that whoever...
I don't get this because if a car busts into my home, like drives into my home and breaks everything, and I couldn't make food for a couple more hours because there's a massive car in my house. The other side of me getting up, making food, probably watch TV for an hour, then go to bed. I'm just fumbling at this point.
Whoever you are right now, you are just one of your versions experiencing just one thing, either seeing the electron in the living room or in the kitchen. Many worlds means that all physically possible worlds are coexisting right here, right now, but independently of each other like the branches of a tree. And there are a lot of them. Every possible quantum process means there are other possible worlds. A radioactive atom decays, another world exists where it didn't. A cosmic ray hits one of your cells, another world exists where the ray just passed through. Each second, bazillions upon bazillions of new worlds exist on top of each other. Stop it, shout the linguists. If these worlds can't interact with each other, we can't check whether they exist. This is not science, so please shut up and calculate. Wait, there is a way to find out. But to do it, you'll have to die a few hundred times. And maybe prove that you're immortal. The ultimate experiment. All we need are 2 electron detectors connected to a nuclear bomb in your living room. If the detector in your
So you're going to blow up your house and see if you're immortal.
living room is activated, the nuke explodes.
It's like a Simpsons house.
If the one in the kitchen is activated, you're safe. Now sit on the nuke and have your brave assistant shoot the electron gun. There are 2 ways this can go. There's a 20% chance the electron lands in the kitchen and you survive, and an 80% chance you die. Okay, let's shoot. Beep. Oh, lucky you. The electron landed in the kitchen. Let's try once more. Beep. And once again. Beep. And another 100 times. Beep, 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 beep.
I don't know what neutrons are. I've heard it somewhere. Is that something in space? I believe I'm right, but I don't know.
Beep. If there is only one universe, you'll die fairly soon. Sooner rather than later, the electron will trigger the nuke and you'll be instantly vaporized. But if the many worlds interpretation is true, then every time your assistant shoots the gun, there are 5 versions of you.
It doesn't really matter because you're going to die either way. Yourself is going to die, so this is all pointless. If it's like 1,000 years, so we can do this experiment, doesn't make a difference because you're dead in this part. Yeah, we do all these experiments, then realize it's not real.
And 4 instantly die. Only one of your versions is alive, and there's only one thing you can experience: your survival. It doesn't matter how many times you try. From your perspective, you'll survive every time. At first, it will seem like luck, but at some point, your luck will become near impossible. In a universe with just one reality, your odds of surviving 100 times in a row are about 1 in 10 duovigintillion, a 1 followed by 70 zeros. So, if you did the experiment 100 times and you're still here, the universe just whispered its deepest secret to you. Yes, you killed hundreds of versions of yourself, but you now know for sure that the many worlds are true, because you are still here experiencing things, and that you're kind of immortal. Okay, well, all that might be a bit overwhelming. Let's break it down again. The cosmic secret. If every possible quantum process always happens in some branch, then this doesn't only mean that there are almost, but not quite, infinite versions of you, but there's always a you that gets insanely lucky. A tumor starts, but a cosmic ray kills it before it spreads. A bolt of lightning strikes at you, but a quantum fluke makes it miss by a meter. A washing machine falls from a roof, but all its atoms quantum tunnel through your body. No matter how extremely high the likelihood is that you'll die, there may always be a branch in which you survive. So, should you start wingsuit flying today? Well, not so fast. For every version of you that survives, bazillions don't. And all those versions of you are just as real as you are right now watching this video. So if you care about the current version of yourself, you should care just as much about all the versions still waiting to be and their loved ones. In other words, if you see a washing machine falling, better move away and save as many of your versions as you can. The more universes exist with you in them, the better. Your existence makes the universe richer. And there's another good reason to move. While the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics feels beautiful and elegant, that doesn't make it true. We don't know if it's true, and so far no literary critic sat on a nuke to risk being wrong. If the shut up and calculate people are right,
would be really great if I can do a portal, go to another dimension when I'm more successful. I will kill my other dimension self and just take over his life.
There is just one world, just one version of you. And if the washing machine hits you, you are done for. But wouldn't this be nice to know? If the many worlds idea is true, then no matter how unlucky you get, you will always know that somewhere you are lucky.
Cool fucking video, dude.